Hey Nate, man, sorry I had one too many death sticks last night and I passed out at the hotel in Corellia. What I miss?
Oh, I mean, not too much. We kind of took a ride, saw some space whales, tried to dismantle hyperspace ring. So, that's about it.
Hmm, standard operating procedure. Cool.
Pretty much.
Welcome into the Bro Force Squad podcast. I'm your host Brian Banner. Along with me is Nate Thurman, and we're here to review episode 3 of the Disney Plus Star Wars show Ahsoka, titled Time to Fly. We grade review all of our TVs on our 4 TV criteria, starting with acting and cast. Nate, what'd you like or dislike about this episode of Ahsoka, acting and cast wise?
I mean, nothing's really standing out a ton. This is the first time I'm jumping on for this series. So, first time talking about some of the new live action people we've seen. Hera is great. Sabine is great. It's awesome coming from Rebels and seeing them in place. And Hera is like a very calming, confident presence in the show that I'm really liking.
Yeah.
She's not like too crazy one side or the other. She's pretty even keel. And she's really standing out to me as a kind of like a subtle a subtleness that's really jiving for me.
Yeah, she was the one last week that I was kind of the most on the fence about. And this week I've come full over to the dark side. She's great. She's doing a good job.
Yeah,
Um,
she's solid.
and Jeff's not here, so it's going to take us a second to actually like look people's names up. Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays
Yeah.
Hera Syndulla.
Hmm.
Um, somebody that I'm not worried yet, but she's on the radar is Natasha Lee Brzardo, who's playing Sabine Wren. Let's hope they don't give her too much meat on the bone here, because I don't know that she can carry as much uh, as they gave her in this episode. I think
Really?
she's overacting a little bit at times. I think maybe trying a little too hard. And I loved her last week, and maybe it was just this week and what the circumstances were. But she's worrying me for the future.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't had any issues with her so far. I think, yeah, she obviously has the potential to take over some episodes with some things that we'll get into the plot and everything, plot and story. But yeah, she hasn't really rubbed me the wrong way yet. One other person I will point out is Ray Stevenson, who's playing Balin. Um, Very good bad guy so far. Like very ominous presence.
Not
Um,
doing too much.
Not doing too much, but doing just enough.
Yep.
And when you can have just the physical features, the body presence, the facial features, and all that to really fit into this role, you don't need to really do too much. You can just stand there and say a few good
Look
lines.
mean.
Yeah, and look mean. But yeah, he's killing it. He's really killing it too. And then I mean, Rosario Dawson, we've seen her as Ahsoka a few times now, and
Yeah, and she's really, really coming around and to me understanding Ahsoka. I was a little afraid, Ashley Eckstein has voiced Ahsoka forever, like
yeah,
literally forever, and so her not getting the nod for the live action, which I understand, she's not a live action actress, and there's a lot
yeah,
of other stuff going on there, but Rosario Dawson has really done a good job of understanding and really learning who Ahsoka is and what Ashley Eckstein was able to do with that character. So that was a really cool handoff. A couple other shout outs I want to say. One, cool to see Jason Syndulla,
ah, yeah,
Kanan and Hera's son. I wasn't sure we were going to get that because it's almost a throwaway frame in the end of Rebels. So kind of cool that he's in there, maybe planting some seeds for future shows, movies, events, whatnot. And then David Tennant as Young Yang, the robot. Just again, I don't think Star Wars has ever done a robot bad, have they? Or a droid, excuse me.
No, and you get a lot of crap. Now I can't remember what the droid's name, but from season 1 of Mandalorian that Taika Waititi voiced.
Yes,
C11, CS11 or something like that.
IG11.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Getting big him vibe. So he'll throw in the snarky comment every once in a while. Most of the time it's just being brutally honest because of how he's programmed, but it's obviously really funny in the context and everything.
It's kind of a mix of IG11 and then K2SO from Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If those two had a baby, it is this character.
Yeah, all in the same thread there with them. But yeah, he's a fun character to throw in there, like they've done so many times, and have that comedic relief. But yeah, overall, really pleased with the acting and cast that have been brought in so far.
All right, anything else on that?
That's it for me.
All right, let's move into our second category then, story and plot. And I was prepared for this. I have IMDb up. But I have this shitty ass computer, and so it's not actually popping up. There it goes. Okay. Episode 3, IMDb. This plot synopsis is: Herod tangles with New Republic politics while Ahsoka and Sabine Wren voyage to a distant planet. Nate, what'd you think of the story so far?
I mean, it's fantastic. It's exactly, for the most part, what I thought it was going to be. And I think that was pretty apparent coming into this. You've got different factions trying to find Thrawn and Ezra for different reasons on both sides. But I think it's setting up nicely. This was kind of a slower episode, kind of some setup. I do like where the setup is going, though. Sabine is trying to get more into the Jedi role. Ahsoka is taking her in as a quote-unquote Padawan, which is kind of cool to see.
Again, a second time.
Yeah, one of the cool scenes in there was like a throwback to A New Hope with Luke, where they get the helmet with the shield on and trying to feel the presence of whatever they're training with. But yeah, so that was kind of a cool throwback there. And then kind of in the cold open, we alluded to it too, but we get space whales, star whales, purgles, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, take your pick.
So that's a cool nod to Rebels. So if you haven't seen Rebels, I'm sorry. You should.
We're gonna spoil the fuck out of it.
Oh yeah,
because you have to at this point. If you're watching
you have
Ahsoka,
to at this
really.
Point. There's a ton of connections, obviously, with Ezra.
Yeah, I was gonna be surprised if we didn't see the space whales, just because of the fact of we know Thrawn is in it. We know how we lose Thrawn, how he goes away. So, I was gonna be surprised if we didn't see him. This episode to me was kind of a throwaway episode. We didn't really get a whole lot, right? Big space battle in the middle, which was really cool. I loved it.
Yeah.
But as far as advancing the show, they kind of started to show Sabine and Ahsoka are building that trust a little bit. We saw the space whales and kind of figured out how we're going to get to Thrawn and or Ezra. But there wasn't a ton of huge revelations, right?
No, not a ton. Yeah,
it didn't really set a whole lot up. It was just kind of a.
Well, I mean, it did set a whole lot up. It was like a setup episode.
I don't know. I felt I wasn't bored, but I didn't feel like it was advancing as quickly as I wanted it to. Maybe.
No. Yeah, the Jedi training with them is kind of going slow, but developing. You see the hyperspace ring, so you kind of see like what Balin and that whole crew was trying to develop to get to where Thrawn is, which they'd have to make like a huge jump in hyperspace. So
yeah, I mean they're going to an entirely different galaxy.
Yeah, so you've got like the two factions kind of coming together, and you're seeing how they're gonna get out there to Thrawn. And like you said, you see the Purgles, and then they make the connection. Oh, like there's old, I don't know if they said like wives' tales or old lore that you can get through different dimensions, like through these migration patterns with the Purgles. So
yeah,
the little pieces, piece of candy, piece of candy, little trails that we're following now. So they're giving us bits and pieces here.
Yeah, I just would have liked little bit bigger pieces, maybe.
Yeah, and I feel like I said
I
this.
don't. I'm afraid that it's getting like I don't want the story to get stagnant, and I can't believe I'm saying that on the third episode. That seems crazy, but I
Well,
like the first two episodes a lot more than this third episode.
yeah, we do this to ourselves, and in the Star Wars universe and in Marvel, I feel like they've kind of set us up this way. We want like that kind of fan service
We want that
part,
Luke Skywalker
which
moment.
there have been some fan services with like, yeah, Jason, like him showing up. So it was like a small thing, and like the space wheels, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I do need that. I need something to pack me a punch,
Yeah.
which it'll come. We've got time. I'm not worried about it. So I'm gonna stop complaining.
Yeah, I probably won't. So let's move on to best scene. You
Or
mentioned it earlier,
might
lightsaber
be the
training
same.
scene. Huge Obi-Wan Luke on the Millennium Falcon vibes. Um, so that was pretty cool. But I'm gonna take the space dogfight. Super dope. Until Ahsoka went out on the spaceship and started doing gymnastics on the wing. That was
Until
yeah. I don't know, man. I don't
what?
know that it didn't feel right, and maybe it was the space suit that she was wearing. I don't know. Something about it just bothered me. It was super true to her character, though. That's something that Anakin would have done. Anakin would have
Wow.
taught her to do in the Clone Wars. It just, I don't know. It really threw me off. Maybe on a rewatch it won't as much, but it really threw me off. Just like, hey, I'm gonna protect this big ass ship with my two little lightsabers while I'm standing on top of it. I don't know.
Fuck yeah, she is. I mean, that was my favorite scene too, and I said ours might be the same, which I didn't see you coming in with, oh, until this happened, and it threw me
Yeah,
off.
I don't know. It felt weird. It felt weird.
No, it was great. Ahsoka and Sabine kind of falling right back into the same pattern. Sabine jumping on the back shooter, shooting down the ships, and then them getting stalled out. Ahsoka saying,
We get to see both. I mean, this is really the entire episode is really like two giant scenes.
yeah,
Because we got to see both of them pilot and how their kind of flying skills were a little bit different and their styles were different.
yeah. But then, yeah, Ahsoka just saying, hold my beer. I'm going to go out here
I
and take
know.
care of business on
Okay.
my own with my two lightsabers. And then she takes down a whole ship by just
All right,
cutting off the
Nate, I
wing,
fucked
which is
up.
pretty
I
badass.
fucked up. It is pretty badass.
And then I like the move at the very end where she's just floating in space and like you're in space, there's no gravity.
Yeah.
So
Hey, can
Sabine
you come
uses like
get
the
me?
wing to like flip around and her feet fall on it and she just runs down it. That was a cool visual and like the use of the ship to get her inside, like in zero gravity. That was a cool move.
Ahsoka has a badass ship. I want to see. I want to see Ghost at some point.
Mm-hmm.
The ship from Rebels. I don't know if we will or not, though. I think
Yeah.
we saw Phantom, the Phantom, which, or I guess technically it's Phantom 2, if you really want to get into it. All those Rebels nerds out there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd really like to see Ghost. You got anything else to say on scene, or should we get right into theories and questions?
Scene. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Uh, theories and questions. I've got kind of two, maybe three things. Why don't you go first?
I've got two. And I'm sure there's some people out here who know Star Wars canon back and forth that can tell me as far as like the timeline and everything. But I feel like they're setting this up. So I'm going to ask the question, are we going to see the Death Star at some point in Ahsoka?
No, the Death Star's already been blown up twice.
It's not
So this happens kind of congruently with Mandalorian.
it leads
The
up into
Empire.
New Hope, doesn't it?
No, that's after Return of the Jedi. Rogue One was before A New Hope. Rebels was before New Hope. This is after Return of the Jedi. I just blew your fucking mind.
I mean, maybe, but okay. The only reason I was so confident saying that is because I thought I looked up a timeline recently, and I thought Ahsoka was right before New Hope, like kind of congruent with Rogue One.
I don't believe so because she in Mandalorian she goes to the Night Sisters planet or whatever, and that's where she captures her, which then she escapes in the first episode of Ahsoka.
Well, if that is the case, then I can just go ahead and answer my own question. And no, we will not see.
No. Now we may see the beginning of Star Killer base or whatever the stupid one in Force Awakens is. We may start to see the First Order come to rise. I don't know that this may be a little early for that as far as the timeline goes, but yeah, to answer your question, no, the Death Star's been blown up twice at this point. So I
don't know. Like, I don't even know what I thought. I must have looked at like some weird timeline when I was looking this up, because of course that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But you know what? It's riveting podcasting.
Yeah. The idiot just spewing stupid shit.
I
must have seen something wrong sometime, because yeah, now that you're saying, like, of course, like all the Mandalorian takes place after all that. I'm a dummy.
It happens.
But the reason I say that, I don't know, maybe I just like put this in my own head, because they're like, oh, I see something on the radar, and like it's not a planet, and then it was like the hyperspace ring, and like, oh, I see something on the radar, it's not a planet, oh, it was the Purgles, and like I thought they were like setting something else up.
You thought there was gonna be a third one. Oh, it's the Death Star.
It's the third Death Star.
It's the third Death Star. You never know. They can pull some shit like that. I got a question. So does Baylan just like have his own army or mercenary group, or like who the fuck is he?
That's a great question. Which actually I'll wait to go into it, but that leads into my second theory and or question.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if there's like a ton of lore about him that is in the Star Wars canon somewhere. I'm sure there is. People know about him. But I mean, he's just an ex-Jedi that survived Order 66.
He's got an apprentice now, but then he also has these people that are going to go hunt him out in the forest. But he's kind of working for the Night Sister, Elsbeth Morgan. But
at least help. Yeah, she does kind of seem in charge.
Yeah.
But he has his own apprentice, Padawan or whatever, that he's kind of training up. So I don't know where she came from either, but he was obviously alive when the Order played out. So yeah,
he was.
Yeah.
I just got a couple quick minor things here. Digging the theme song for Ahsoka. I think Star Wars has done a good job, top to bottom, with their scores. But again, I think they did a really good job with this one. And this is the first time that this episode really feels like an Ahsoka story now. The first two episodes felt more like the opening of Rebels season 5. And now this kind of has honed down back into or into Ahsoka's story, especially with Hera not pursuing them, not going with them to Dunbab or whatever they are. So my question is, are we going to see all the rebels back together, or at least the majority of them? Zeb, are we going to see him again? Is Hera going to come back again? Obviously, there's the big question, are we going to see Ezra, or have we seen Ezra? So my question is, do you think we're going to get the Ghost and kind of the Rebels reunion in this show?
I will comment on that, but I first want to ask why you're saying, have we seen Ezra?
There's a theory. I've actually seen it online, but then also Horns suggested it last night. And the dude with the lightsaber that had the mask on, I think like Mordo or Morak is his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know. That's why I asked.
Oh, okay. People think that may be Ezra Bridger already. So okay, I'll just go fuck myself.
No, I was kind of I was not baiting you into it, but I knew where you were going with that. And I want you to expound on it a little bit for the fans.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but yeah, there's some supporting evidence in that as well. There's some look or maybe some like scoff or like comment he makes whenever the Purgles show up. That some fans have really latched onto. So,
well, I'll latch onto this. His lightsaber is double bladed, right?
Yeah.
He technically was an apprentice under Darth Maul at one point, so it's not that far fetched for him to. He dabbled in the dark side a lot, so it's not that far fetched, I don't think, for him to at least be like more gray than maybe not full dark side, but like Twilight dark side.
Twilight dark side.
You know, like not quite daylight, but not quite nighttime either.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. It's interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's hear it. Theory, your last theory, your question. You said you had something on Baylan.
Oh yeah, that plays into that. So yeah, just looking into that, digging into the depths of the internet. Could it be possible that Balin was trained by Plo Koon?
That'd be cool.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was who found Ahsoka in
Plo
her
Koon did,
village.
yes.
Yeah, Plo Koon. So
So do you think Balin was with Plo Koon when they found Ahsoka?
there's a lot of possibilities. I don't know the in-depth connections or what it could be. That could be one of them.
The minutia.
It could just be that he was trained by Plo Koon. Plo Koon found Ahsoka. There's that little bit of deeper connection that he wants to find her, kill her. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe try and turn her over to the dark side and get her to team up because they have that connection. And then obviously we all know that Filoni's favorite Jedi is Plo Koon. So
I know.
it would not be that far fetched for this to be tied in that way, some way. So
I would love a flashback where we get a Plo Koon again. I think we're gonna get an Anakin flashback this next episode.
And I think since the end of Mando season 2, and when maybe it was kind of revealed to the masses that Plo Koon was Filoni's favorite Star Wars character or favorite Jedi, because that's who he had written into the script to mask Luke coming in.
Yeah.
I think everyone is just, I don't even think this is really grasping at straws at this point. This makes sense. But I think it's even more exacerbated at this point because people are trying to like fit this in or like trying to like find those breadcrumbs.
They want it to work.
But I don't even think this is that big of a stretch. Will it happen?
I don't think so either.
I don't know. But there's definitely the threads connecting it. So it's not
I also think
super far-fetched.
I personally would like that too, because that is going to, we need to get away from the Skywalker saga and and what everybody knows about the Skywalkers. That in the grand scheme of things is a very small portion of the Star Wars universe. So I think if we can expand out and bring Plo Koon into this more and kind of tell his story a little bit more, and then again just advance Ahsoka's story more, that would be cool, and get us away and get that taste of the Skywalker-ness out of our mouth.
Yeah, it just gives, that connection just gives Balin more of a motive to, like I said, I don't know what his end goal is, but to connect with Ahsoka, to find Ahsoka, to talk to her, to kill her, join up with her. I don't know.
You don't think his motivation for doing all this is not to find Thrawn? His motivation is to lure Ahsoka out and kill her, and or bring her under him, and or turn her to the dark side.
As far as his motivation right now for getting into Thrawn and working with the sister, for me the jury's still out on that. I think both are possible. I don't know what his main motivation is right now, but either one of those could be possible, to team up with Thrawn and create a new empire or create whatever he wants, or to use Thrawn to get close to Ahsoka. Both are possible right now. I'm still kind of out on which one is the true motive.
Last question. I asked it last week to Horns. When do you think we're going to see Thrawn? We know we're going to see him because obviously he's in the trailer. Are we looking at next episode 4, 5, 6, 7, or is he going to be the big reveal and the last episode of 8?
Man, that is tough. If we hadn't already, we saw him in like one of the trailers or teasers already, didn't we? Yeah. So with that being said, like, I don't think it's going to be episode 8. It's got to be 7. I think it'll be 7. The penultimate episode is usually pretty epic and pretty important. So I think they'll bring him in there and then wrap everything up in the 8th.
I think we're going to have a flashback / they're traveling with the space whales to this other galaxy is episode 4. Episode 5 is when they get there and they're looking for Thrawn. At the end of episode 5 or early episode 6 is when we're going to find him or see him.
This is kind of just another fun kind of theory question, just guessing how the episodes are going to play out. Do you think the first time we'll see him, he will be discovered by Ahsoka or whoever it is, or they're just gonna be so far along in the story. They're gonna just give us that cookie and just show us him and Ezra interacting or something like that.
I think we are in this journey with Ahsoka or Esbeth Morgan or Balin. We are seeing the story through those two factions.
That makes
think
sense.
One of those people have to find him
Yep.
before we have an interaction with him and Thrawn or him and Ezra, excuse me. I think once we find him, like I said, I think that could be the big cliffhanger, probably episode 5. And then episode 6, you could do interactions of him and Ezra. And then 7 is the big fight of him trying to get back to the galaxy that we know of, the Republic and everything, to take over as the new Empire. And then 8, he either succeeds or doesn't succeed. And we set up insert next show here, whether that's Ahsoka season 2, Rebels, or you could even go Mando at that point.
Yeah. I agree. But that's all I got on theories and questions.
That's all I got. Last thoughts.
Not too much. I'm enjoying this so far. It's great. Also, I'm an idiot, and I don't know why I thought Ahsoka was taking place.
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing you searching the interwebs this
I'm
entire
just like,
time.
I swear
find that timeline.
I must have just misread something. Like, I've seen Mandalorian, I've seen Boba, I've seen all of the. It's like, the timeline does get confusing sometimes. It's been jumping around so much with the new content. And yeah, I just like I saw something and just went with it. I was like, and then you said it, I was like, fuck, I'm an idiot. Duh. I don't even know. My mind got away from me, so I apologize. I'm dumb.
It's all right. I'm excited. It happens. Ahsoka's my favorite character. I'm loving this. I think everybody's doing a great job, and I am very excited to see what the future holds. I'm Brian Banner for Nate and the third Death Star Thurman. We will see you guys on episode 4.
Great sign off.
I thought
I should have just turned it around and said that. They're like, oh, I'm in the third Death Star.